Welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm Satoli. Today we're at the historic castle in Sims Township, and with me is Sir Joe, one of the foremost historians on the castle. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing real good, real good. Glad to see you.
Good. I'm glad to see you too.
Yes.
We met about 8 years ago, but we decided to come back for round two.
My pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about this. How did this castle even get started?
Well, Mr. Andrews, after World War I was over, he lived in Oswego, New York, and he sent out his resumes, and he came to Hamilton County, and he was actually a building engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an apartment down in the north side, and right across the street from his apartment was a church, and he started going to church there.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a Christian, so he just went to church. And a lady that owned some of the lots down here, if you paid a year in advance at Cincinnati Tribune, you got a lot, 20 by 100. You got the deed.
Okay.
If you had 5 of them, you could build on them.
Okay.
So the lady had 3, and they were having Sunday school, scouts, YMCA, everything down here, and they called herself the Knights of the Golden Trail, and the Golden Trail's 10 Commandments.
Okay.
And so he said, you know, if the moms and dads and kids, if you all help me gather up the rocks and everything, I'll buy these lots and we'll build a castle and be real knights.
Really?
Yes. And so in 1927, they started building the castle. And we're still working on it now, almost 100 years later. Almost 100 years now. The legend in the castle keeps going on. It gets bigger every year.
Okay, big question. Where did all these rocks come from?
The grounds and the river and the creeks, and they're all here unless they're marked special. And there's 30 countries in every state also.
Rocks from 30
Yes.
countries?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. So when he first started on this, did he do this by himself, or did he have help, or how did that work out?
The moms and dads and the kids and all of, you know, we'd all come down and get him a pile of rock, and next time we come, the pile would be gone and there'd be something made.
Really?
Yeah.
What part of the castle did he start on first?
The bottom section over here and by the dungeon and everything, he started in is actually the German part, the game room. He started there first.
Okay, okay.
And then they dug out for the dungeon, and then it just kept going on.
And how many rooms are in the castle?
19.
Is there?
Yes.
Did he ever live in the castle?
27 and a half years.
Did he?
Yes.
He slept there?
Yes.
Really?
The coldest and worst recorded history, he was living here with no electric.
What winter was that?
59.
Huh.
It set a record, I'm pretty sure it was in 1959, set a record for the cold and everything, and he still didn't have electric. He had all the electric run, but the electric wasn't down here yet.
It wasn't hooked up yet.
All while he was building it, he added electric and plumbing and everything. And he was a Hamilton County building inspector for a while, so he knew all the codes.
Okay. So tell me some interesting stories about this. I mean, I heard one story that he got the idea for the castle when he was over in Europe during the war.
Yeah, during World War I, the war to end all wars, he was stationed towards the end of his military time in France at a castle converted into a hospital, and it was called Chateau Laroche. That's French for House of Rock. That's the name of this castle.
That's where this came from.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you go upstairs, you can imagine that room 5 times larger. Our whole castle would fit in that room, and he was a medic there.
Yeah.
And took care of the wounded soldiers and everything. And being over in a foreign country, here's a guy that could write and speak 7 different languages.
No kidding.
Yes, and so he was well used over there. And he got to stay over there. The government gave him a scholarship, him and 11 other people, and he went to Toulouse College over there and majored in medieval architect.
Did he?
So this is a medieval design. That means before Domino's delivered, no Mac attacks. You know, what happens if you don't eat? We all know, you know, so you got no guns. There was no cannons.
Yeah.
This is before that.
Yeah.
And I like to tell the kids that because when what no McDonald's, you know, it makes them think a minute. You know,
Right.
They get back there real fast because we have so many schools and scouts and everything here that still going on, been going on for almost 100 years.
Right. And how many stories are in the castle? Is it 3 or 4?
4 counting the dungeon and the fighting deck.
Okay. All right.
Yes. And the dungeon, the walls are almost 7 feet thick.
Are they really?
Yeah, it's the safest tornado and fallout around. Back when I grew up, you couldn't.
Well, why did he build it so thick?
To hold the structure up.
Okay, the foundation, yeah.
After he had the first floor done, then he dug out for the dungeon. And it just, you know, he was an architect genius. I'm just a little river rat down along here that's just luckiest person you ever met to be one of the people that inherited.
Right.
Yeah.
So the foundation, I don't know if you know this, but the foundation for it, was that just regular creek rock that he used?
Bedrock. The shelves of bedrock are like this, and he went down to a solid shelf.
Okay.
And then started there. And years later, the engineer said, well, the reason he did that because it's all moving towards the river and the building don't break up. Each floor is on a shelf of bedrock. If you look in the hillside or in the creek over there, you can look over and you can tell each floor
no kidding
is on a shelf. So it all just stays together. Don't crumble up and all that. And okay, I can understand that.
He knew what he was doing.
Yes, he did.
So tell me a couple of good stories about the castle.
Well, you know, when you come down here, Knights of the Golden Trail, and the Golden Trail being the 10 Commandments, you were constantly being reminded, and if you got lucky enough to be left here while you went to the bank or the post office and he put you on your honor, oh yeah, you was cool. Yeah, you got to stay at Harry's Castle, man, while he was gone, and oh yeah, you did a lot of growing up around here. And he put 10 windows in here and 10 bricks here. So if he wasn't here when you was walking around, you was constantly reminded of the 10 Commandments, you know. So he would take care of things while he wasn't even here. He still takes care of things. He's been dead since 81.
Has he?
Yeah.
Huh.
He was 91.
And how many people like you actually take care of the property?
Not enough.
Okay.
Really. It's never ending. It's, you know.
Sure.
Not only did he make us nice, but he left us a castle that wasn't finished. And he left us and told us how to do it and what he wanted done, and this is what it's going to be, but you'll have to do it. He caught his pants legs on fire, putting the fire out, and burned him up pretty bad. He wouldn't let him amputate his legs, and he died in the hospital.
Oh, I
Gangrene.
did not know that.
One of the doctors told incredible stories about him, how, you know, but they didn't know that in World War I, when the swine flu come through and he got drafted at Fort Dix, New Jersey, it went through there and wiped out almost all of them. And he laid in the morgue for 2 days, in makeshift morgue, tried to blink his eyes and move his toes to tell him he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
And when they cut on his mouth, to get a culture, he was bleeding. A dead man don't bleed, your heart has to be pumping.
Right.
So they experimented with him and they put adrenaline straight into his heart and kickstarted him. They juiced him with adrenaline. And he come back. Now in his diaries, the man kept a diary from the time he was in school until he died.
Right.
And he said that he was going down the hallway and he saw his mom and dad at church having service for him, and then he was back on the operating table. And that's when so dying wasn't something he hadn't already done. So he told him at the hospital, he said, my castle is finished, my night's will, I'm not going back. And the doctor said he made him comfortable. And he kept his wit right to the end. I said, well, that'd be Sir Harry. Oh, yeah.
So how did you know that there was still more work to do? Did he have drawings or blueprints or what?
Some of the drawings and some of that stuff kind of disappeared and everything like this, but being around and everything and listening to his stories and everything, and actually paintings and everything, you know, he would tell people what it's going to look like and they would get close and everything. So all you had to do, God grows the rocks, you got to go pick them just like he did. And kids, man, they love to go down the creek and go all over and get rocks. But now I got a little tractor and everything, and they want to fist fight, see who gets to drive it. Oh, it's my turn, it's my turn. Just bring back rocks and all your fingers and toes. And so it's still going on. We're still getting rocks and building.
How much longer do you think you've got, or will it ever be finished?
Never be
Okay.
finished. There's things that I won't finish so that the next seneschal, the head knight, comes along, he'll have maybe that drive, you know, to finish Harry's castle.
Right.
Because you can go watch the interviews, and he said, well, if I don't get it finished, my knights will.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still here doing it. You know, we're here. Where else can you go for $5 and see the greatest castle in the United States and learn about a legend? He said,
Right.
you know, and we pride ourselves on it.
So before we take off here, what do you want everyone to know about the castle?
That this guy was a man among men, and he, hopefully, the legend will never die, and come out and see the castle. And when you think about what one man can do, every day's opportunity knocks, and take it.
Right.
Because that's what he did.
Right.
And God bless you.
Good deal. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Let's
Hey,
go
it's
ahead.
easy to brag about something somebody else did.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and check it out.
All right.
Okay.